oh man, this is really, really bad. Before we dive into this Vancouver Canucks related story, I wanted to establish some credibility for myself first. I graduated from the BCIT Radio Arts and Entertainment program back in 2020. It was a pretty big deal. It was 2 years of my life. We learned all about the ins and outs of radio and media and digital media. We learned about journalism. We learned about getting connections. We learned about interviews. We learned about podcasting. We learned about writing. We learned about a lot of media-related things. And so, when I see a fellow media member going out there and talking on his podcast, the Locked On Canucks podcast, about this, oh man, it is absolutely terrible what we are greeted with today. Now, if you don't know who Trevor Beggs is one of the main guys on Locked On Canucks, and he does stuff on Daily Hive for the Vancouver beat as well. He's a pretty cool dude, and he has been covering the Canucks for a long time now. Pretty good Twitter follow. He posts some stats. He posts interviews. He does a lot of what he needs to do as a journalist in this city. And the other day, he posted an article that we will get into, but for now, it doesn't look like it's up anymore. With that said, there were some repercussions from the article that he had posted, and we're going to read this post on the Canucks sub to just give the scoop over here. Speaking on the Locked On Canucks podcast, Trevor Beggs said this: "I wrote a story about the Aquilini family. He didn't like it, so I was removed from the game and asked to give my press pass back." Essentially, Beggs wrote about the Aquilini family's involvement in the case brought against Harvey Plus by the U.S. government. Aquilini didn't like it. He lost his credentials. Cool. Now you know why media in this town doesn't torch Aquilini the way he deserves. Nobody wants to bite the hand that feeds them. Now, I'll just say this right here. I have no clue what's going on with Harvest Plus, the U.S. government, and the Aquilini family, whether or not they're involved in this situation. But, it would have been cool to have an article on dailyhive.com to be able to read about it and understand what's going on. Now, the article has since been removed. A part of me believes that maybe Daily Hive did not decide to take it down, but maybe they were forced to. Let's just leave it at that. Let's go out there and read some of the comments over here. It's crazy that the Canucks did this, and wild that Daily Hive caved on the story so quickly. Canucks beats are all quiet on this too. Embarrassing all around. This, how are all the other Canucks reporters not talking about this? Well, wouldn't they literally lose their jobs? They're not employed by the Canucks. None of them. They might lose their credentials for the press for Rogers Arena, but some of them, like Schaefer and Price, don't even go to the games. They'd lose access to the team as long as Aquilini owns the team. If they have any desire to move up in the world and eventually get arena access, it is not worth it for them. Now, there is a rebuttal. I didn't see Patrick Johnston get revoked for a similar story on the same case, so I think it's pretty fair to assume the team doesn't want the province or the Athletic or Sportsnet to stop covering them. They took an opportunity to bully a small outlet. And that is, unfortunately, a realistic way to view the Canucks in this situation. Now, in order to get the full scoop as to actually what was mentioned in the piece, let's go out there and look at this other Canucks post. Daily Hive sports reporter Trevor Beggs reports he was removed from a Canucks game and had his press pass revoked due to writing an article on Aquilini being named in a U.S. criminal case. Here's the actual clip where Beggs goes out there and talks about it. Why did they redact the article? It seems like Aquilini might have bullied that out of them. I assume he means they retracted the article. I'm not going to pass judgment on why unless I read it. Maybe there was some misinformation in it. Prophet of Elias says, following the story a little bit, Aquilini used a company, and that company was found to be hiring illegal workers. It wasn't Aquilini directly, and it's a decent chance that he didn't look into it where the workers were being supplied from. The article writer probably didn't reach out for comment and maybe made some assumptions, allegations, or just misinformation. You don't usually bring down an article just for no reason. Yeah, I'd be really surprised if Daily Hive retracted the article if they thought there were no issues with it. So, this is just some discourse. It's all speculation. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, Trevor Beggs wrote something wrong. Like, that's not the conclusion I'm going to jump to over here. But all we can do is just acknowledge the fact that the article is gone. Beggs has been revoked from covering Vancouver Canucks games, and social media has been set ablaze with how everything is going down. You see, you had Tatiana over here on Twitter posting the clip, and this clip, 40,000 views, a whole bunch of likes and retweets, and a lot of angry hockey fans. Not necessarily Canucks fans, but hockey fans. Trevor Beggs talking about getting removed from the building on Thursday. The Canucks organization are such clowns, they waited for the first intermission to escort Trevor out and to make a huge scene. They easily could have denied him access to the building. The organization is vindictive, petty, and loves embarrassing others. Yo, that's crazy. If reporters cannot report without the fear of losing credentials, what's the point of having a media presence? Here's another post on our Canucks. Did anyone read the Trevor Beggs article before it had gotten taken down? I want to read it, and it deserves to be circulated more to tick off Canucks management. I'd like to read it too. I'm not normally one to defend Aquilini, but given the speed with which Daily Hive retracted it, I'm betting there was something wrong with the article. That being said, stripping someone's press pass mid-game sounds like a bit much. A U.S. federal criminal case was filed against a labor contractor who was accused of forcing agricultural workers to work in extreme heat without proper water or safety conditions. That same contractor supposedly supplied workers to Aquilini's vineyards, which is why the Aquilini name appeared in coverage, but neither Francesco nor any of his companies are named in the case. They say their workers were hired through a third party and obviously deny any wrongdoing. The story was about the criminal case in the supply chain, and not against Aquilini himself, and the article got pulled because the distinction between connected to and accused of is highly legally sensitive. So, the way this is written gives us a pretty good picture as to why everything probably went down the way it did. I mean, if Aquilini notices an article written about him, and there is a reasonable way to conclude that a reader reading the piece for the first time might think that Aquilini was directly responsible for some of that stuff, I could understand why there would be a little bit of a legal fuss about that. I think it's a little much to go out there and straight up remove the guy and revoke him access to the arena who wrote the article. And I do think that it's a really bad look for the Canucks. You know, just saying, journalists go out there and do their jobs. They write stuff, they talk about stuff, they see stuff. I prefer not to call myself a journalist, especially here on this YouTube channel, because I kind of feel like for me and what I do, yes, it's true, I do have the media training to be able to do proper journalism and look for stories and write articles and create big, broadcast-worthy caliber pieces of media. I think I'm capable of that. It's just, you know, I'm a fan sitting in my bedroom reacting to stuff. It's not necessarily journalism. It's more like, hey, let's talk about this cool thing going on. This is not cool, by the way. This entire situation, total opposite of cool. So with that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Francesco Aquilini is at it again, folks. Another controversy here on the lands of Vancouver. Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Big shout out over to Trevor Beggs and the Locked On Canucks podcast. And bye.